Uh, Welcome to this session. We are now into the core development. So my name is Sri Raman. So I'll be taking your session on the full stack development. We have a 40 minutes session and 40 minutes practice. That's the plan that we have. So what we are going to learn before I do that, mm, how do I, yeah, before I do the starting of this session, so I hope everybody is able to, my voice is audible to all. Please raise your hand. Uh, Perfect. Thank you. So, and my screen is visible. Right now I am in a Zogo screen. Please confirm that my screen is also visible. Please confirm that. Thank you. So today, just before we start this session, a quick overview of what we are going to do. I'm moving to PowerPoint. So please confirm as soon as you start seeing the PowerPoint. So at this point of time, I'm not able to see your questions or other chats. I'll come back and see that. So this is the course topic we have planned. It is for a 20 weeks program. So this is the week 1 to week 20. We had a small, there may be some slight changes to this, but one topic might go to say another week, another topic might come to upfront. So that is possible, but we have planned it in this way. So week 1, logic building, HTML, CSS basics, and JS basic, JavaScript. JS is meant for JavaScript. Week 2, JavaScript program elements, dev tools, GitHub basically, data structures like arrays, strings, dates processing, etc. So week 3, Angular material concept, basic UI programming. Angular material is from here onwards. We are not talking about Java, Java Spring, etc. We are talking about Angular and React JS. That is the current trend that is in the market. So we start with that. Java, anyway, you might have learned in your computer science program or any other place you might have learned. So we go with the Angular. Angular is one of the complex product in the page, single page concept. Uh, so they call it as single page SP, single page. This entire product is a single page asynchronous calls. We'll talk about more on that as we go. Week 4, we are talking about responsive UI, call to server side. Node.js is the backend that we'll be using. So dialogues, pages, grids. So basically, Angular material is precisely a presentation layer, and Node, we are using it as a backend coding layer. It is like a JSP page in the Java and backend code in the Java. So then week 5, Node.js view model, business logic and data validations on the UI and server side. TypeScript. We'll be following the TypeScript concept. From the beginning, we'll be following the TypeScript concept. So TypeScript will come upfront. So Angular is purely a TypeScript. So there is no TypeScript is one layer above the JavaScript. So JavaScript is a straight compiler. The TypeScript one layer above. So syntax and everything is carried by the TypeScript. Week 6, connecting DB from Node.js, workflow programming, event loop, ES6 library. Right now, the ES6 library is the primary library that is supported. It goes as high as now E19, E20 is all there. So we go with ES6, that's a primary library. Then week 7, code commit with multiple programmers. Basically, we are using the GitHub concept, and we try to give multiple programs to multiple people and everybody will try to integrate the things and how to do a conflict resolution. All those we'll try to see. That is week 7. Week 8, how to do a unit testing, advanced CSS, file system handling, managing routes. Week 9, React, reusable UI libraries, declarative code, etc. Week 10, asynchronous operations. To be precise, the week 10, whatever the topic, we call it as week 10, but it is available from the day week 4 itself. So because everything is an asynchronous in Node.js and Angular material. So if you want to make it synchronous, you need to do it something, but everything is an asynchronous operation. So we'll talk about that as we move on. Week 11, microservices, how to persist the data, authentication services, etc. Week 12, webpacks and npm packages, making the build, how to make the build, how to simplify the build, uglify the build, all that will come underneath that. Week 13, state management, charting and visualization, Redux and hooks. So this we come as week 13, where session management, basically it is a session management. Week 14, application of advanced searching, sorting in enterprise programs, report generation, application delivery as a package. This is a very critical concept because we are talking about a microservices. When we talk about microservices, how do we load huge data? Especially report generation might generate huge data. When I say huge data, even a 2 MB file is a huge data from the microservices perspective. So microservices is all about KB. So then that is where you are scaling up the application. All your Facebook, Twitter, everything is a microservices, all generates data of in KBs. I'm not talking about file upload in Facebook. I'm talking about chatting in Facebook. Week 15, impact analysis based on change requests, avoiding regressions, dealing with large data set. All that things we will be talking about. Then week 16, application of standard proven designs, introduction to application performance monitoring. This is basically performance testing and related things. APM data on CPU, memory, disk, network, and transactions. Week 16 is basically talks about more of performance testing and how do you scale your applications, how do you monitor your applications, etc. Week 17 is all about security testing and related to security testing. I'll be sharing a lot of reports on how various applications gets tested security wise. How do we solve those issues that comes up? We'll take up some challenges over here as well. Week 18, 19, 20, all related to projects on the topics that we have learned. We'll restrict ourselves to the topics that we are learning here. So that is thing. So any questions here, please let me know. I'm moving back to Zoho screen. Any questions, please put it in the questionnaire. So there is somebody asking, is from civil engineering and he doesn't know Java. It doesn't matter. So Java, you need JavaScript is a separate independent entity. It is nothing to do with Java or anything. If you know Java, it is okay. If it doesn't know also, it doesn't matter. This is an independent scratch. We are starting from scratch. It is independent. So Angular, we'll talk about in Angular, can we use raw HTML? We'll talk about that when we come to the Angular side. You don't have a basic knowledge in coding, will you be teaching from basic? I'm starting from the scratch. The whole important thing is you should have a passion to learn and passion to practice. Without practice, you cannot do anything. So that is why we kept 40 minutes as a class, 40 minutes as a practice session. So practice session is very, very critical. And you have to do, for example, you may know certain things, but you may have to do 100 times to recollect and remember at the later date. So yeah, the emphasis on practice is very, very important. Is my voice clear? But somebody says voice is not clear. Is my voice clear? Is Rajesh, are you there? Is my voice clear?
Yes, sir, it's clear, sir.
Okay, perfect. Please check you at your end, please. Whoever is saying voice is not clear, please check at your end. Whether you will be teaching using Python, Java. Python, Java, Python, we cover it at the, not here, not at this stage. We have another program, we may be talking about analytics. That is where we cover the Python. Java, we don't have any intention to cover right now. Java, a lot of materials are available in public domain. You can go ahead and use that. We don't have any plan of going with Java right now. Python, we cover it under analytics and business analytics and MI/ML, that area. So we are not having intention to cover it at this stage. Any other questions, please let me know. Is system required for attending the class? It is advisable to go with a system, that is, you go with a laptop or a desktop, because the practice session you may have to practice it in this 40 minutes session and 40 minutes class. That 40 minutes practice is very important for you all. So that's very important. What's the ability to join for Java? Basic need is eagerness to learn. That is what we expect. I'm an electrical engineer. I don't have any background of Java or C sharp or any coding for that matter. I don't have any knowledge in my period. I'm from 92 passed out. Engineering passed out from 1992. So at that time, I didn't have anything at all. So it doesn't matter. Only thing is what is needed is your eagerness to learn and eagerness to practice. Learning is one thing, practice is one thing. Learning, anybody can learn and they can talk well on that. But if you want to do real coding and if you want to get a job, you need to practice. Practice doesn't mean that you have learned and then you have already done a practice. Practice is really you have to put your hands dirty. Programming knowledge, etc., please, it is your personal thing. You have to have a eagerness to learn. Anything can be learned today. Mobile device, nobody is aware of any programming, but still we are using mobile devices. We are all using desktops. We don't have any language or Android or anything. We don't have any knowledge on that. That's how today the trend is. It's all, they call it as high level programming, high end programming. It is like writing in English, that's all. So some questions related to how do I join Zoho and all, we are not intended in that. It is you will just apply it, you call for an interview, attend, and then move on. So I'm interested in coding. Question, can I be placed in IT or a EEE department? Anywhere, it doesn't matter. See, nobody, this engineering background basically doesn't require, it teaches you the logical ability to think logically. That's what it teaches you. Anything, any logical thinking is, if you are good in that, you are good for any placements anywhere in India as of now. Notes will be provided. Yes, it will be provided. Hindi, yes, we know, but we will take the class in English only. Okay then. So I hope I covered all. We move on to the next topic. So we'll come back here later. So next is, this is what the course material that we are going to cover. We first start with the HTML. HTML will start with, then we go with logic. Logic building is goes along with JavaScript or HTML script. There is a script concept in HTML. It is it is bound with that itself. So first is, what is HTML? HTML, we all know, we all heard about it. It is a HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. I moved to the different screen, so I may not be able to see your screen now. I hope you are all seeing this screen. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and it is the most widely used language to write web pages. The concept HTML used in the initial thing is to just make sure you have a headings, paragraphs in a scientific way. The information needs to be transferred. That's how they started with, but it has taken a huge leap in terms of technology. So HTML5 is the current version of HTML. HTML5 it is already bound to the web browsers. It is already uh, there in the browsers. So only thing is there are certain methods, events, etc., which we'll be talking about that will use that HTML5. You don't have a difference between HTML and HTML5 from the browser point of view. So HTML hypertext is actually refers to the HTML documents linked together. Thus, the link available on a web page is called hypertext. Basically, you will say an underline link. The web page, any web page, it is underline link, https colon slash slash etc. So then, as the name suggests, markup language is basically used to simply mark up a text document with tags. That's what we are going to see. HTML is all about tags, and that tell a web browser how to structure it to the display. So markup is nothing but a tag, and HTML is nothing but uh, documents, right? So HTML is widely used to format web pages with the help of different tags available in HTML language. So that is what we are going to see. What are all the tags? What is that? How do we test it then and there? We will see all that now. So HTML is predominantly any web page, whether it is a Java site, JSP page, or any page for that matter. Anywhere you see a browser, if you are using the browser, you need an HTML. Don't confuse with Angular, sorry, application like APK file. Angular APK files are packages that you install it in the mobile device. Don't confuse with that. We'll talk about that as we go, but don't get confused on that. Those are all specific language defined packages, mostly games, etc. Those are all specific language driven. So there are good amount of tags. HTML, we call it as tags. What is tag also, we'll see it as we go. So HTML, we'll see what are all we are going to see. HTML overview, basic tags, elements, attributes, formatting, for, phrase, meta tags, comments, comment tags, images, tables, list, text links, image links, email links, block. The image link, what it means, if you click on that image, it will take you to the image. If you click on the email, it will take you to the email in the browser. If you are using a Gmail, if you are using a Outlook, it will open that automatically. So that's what it means. Email link means. When HTML tag, the tags are generally classified into two parts. One is block, another is inline. We'll see what is that as well. Second is background related attributes. So how to set a background image, how to set a background color, all those stuff. This is also called watermark. Sometimes you may see a watermark. That watermark is all set through background. Then form tags, the tags related to form data. Header tag, the form data is the one which interacts between the front end and the back end. The interaction happens through the form tags. Form tags is one of the interactive tags. Second is events. We use the word events. The events are the one which is interact between what you give it as an input, that is getting passed on to the outside, that is output or backend, or you call it as code behind. So that is the one. So these are all some of the communication or interfacing tabs. Then header tags, style sheets. This is where the CSS comes into picture. JavaScript, HTML. JavaScript is one of the major advantages of browser is utilizing of JavaScript. For example, if you are writing a program in C Sharp, or Python or anything, it needs to be get translated into JavaScript for browser to work. Browser understands only JavaScript. So that is why this Node.js, Angular material comes into picture, because it is same language that is used in the browser that is used behind. The layouts is not a tag. The layouts are the using the tags you will form the layouts, like table tags. Table tags are mostly used for layouts. So the div tags are used for layouts. Span tags are used for layouts. It doesn't literally have any meaning, but it is used for grouping the data. All that it is used, and that is how you form the layouts. So we'll talk about as we go. We'll more talk on that a lot. So this is about what we are going to see underneath HTML tags. I'll just go further before I take your questions. I'll complete this. Every HTML, there is an event. That means, for example, you might be doing a click event, right? You click on a particular link button, the button does something and it takes you to the different page, or it does some operation, it says successfully saved, or it opens up the sign up page, anything. So these are all called events. So when you are using, when you say Windows operating system, since the Windows being the primary operating system, they use the word window. It is basically an operating system. It can be a Linux, it can be a Windows, it can be a iOS, it can be anything. On after these are all some of the events available. What does it mean? Wherever I put a bracket volt, that means it is supported by HTML, normal HTML. Wherever I have not put anything, it is supported by HTML5. So it is the latest browser only supports, not older browser. IE is considered as a older browser. IE is not considered as a latest browser, Internet Explorer, right? So please put your questions properly. So we'll answer it as we come back to the questions window. So this is the events. So all these events are code behind. I use the word code behind simply because when you click on some activity, there is some action performed. That action is performed by the code. That code I use the word called code behind. So the code behind is where the code gets transferred, and that is where it gets executed. How all that happens, we'll see it as we move on. So that is, these are all window events. I classified the windows on multiple places. Like these are all form events. So on blur, on change, on context menu, wherever, as I said, wherever I put bold, that's are all supported by a simple HTML. Wherever I have not put it, it is supported by, depending on browser, it's supported by HTML5. On focus, on form change, on form input, on invalid, on reset, on select, on some of this most common thing we'll be seeing as an example. If you want to practice more and more, you have to use all these events to get familiarized with all the events that is available. There are things called keyboard events. There are things called mouse events. Any keyboard event that you do, it is operated through key down, key press, key up. The key down is nothing but you are pushing the key down. Key press is nothing but you press the key, whether it is down or up, it doesn't matter. On key up, when the key is released. These are all the three events supported by the keyboard, and it satisfies all the keys that is there. These events will take the value called key value. We call it as key name. The key name is enter. Enter is a key name. Letter P is the P, character P. These are all key events, right? Mostly we use for escape events. We use it for up arrow, down arrow, page down, page up. We use the key events for that, right? Then HTML mouse events. So on click, as I said, this will use double click. These are all commonly used. It is all supported in the older version. On mouse down, on mouse move, on mouse out, on mouse over, on mouse up to the right hand side that I'm taking. Whoa, I have kept because of the space. Those are all also old browser supported things. on drag, drag end, on drag enter, on drag leave, on drag over. These are all drag events. Drag and drop. On scroll, when you're scrolling the browser, scrolling in the browser. On mouse wheel, if you have a mouse, you have a wheel, you on mouse wheel. These are all supported by the mouse events. So keyboard events, mouse events. Media events. Media events is like a player when you are talking about when you are playing a video on the uh, HTML, right? These are all the events that is happening inside that. You may not know, but all these are getting used. You may be jumping between say 1 minute to 15th minute on seek, on seeking, on stalled, right? On seek ed, all these are used on that, right? So seeking is nothing but I'm going to the directly to the 15th minute location. So whether can play through. So all these are duration change. Duration change is also equivalent to seeking, right? I'm changing the duration. Start playing from that part. So this is having a major role to play in terms of performance, right? Because I cannot load the full video to you. It is these are all called streaming activities. I cannot load full video to you. If you jump from 15th minute to 30th minute, that remaining that between 15-minute video, I will not download to your browser at all. I will directly download from the 30th minute. That much I save, because when you are talking about a movie, we are talking about high definition movie, we are talking about 1.3 GB of data. Full movie length is 1.3 GB of data. When you are playing through that 1.3 GB of data, sometimes you may skip the song. So the song content need not be downloaded into your browser at all. So that's how the whole player works. And also the security. Nowadays, you don't want to from cache. We don't want to allow you to save the content. We make sure it is streaming and it is erased as soon as that content is played over. So we remove that. So these are all the events that we go ahead with. Any questions on this? Please let me know before I go to the actual document session. Any questions? Please go ahead. Recorded video are generally available after your maybe the day, after end of the day your recording session will be available. You hope you will get a notification, or you can recordings are available only through openmentor.net. So you need to register on OpenMentor. There may be a video available on how to register, how to see your video. Maybe there may be a video available. Please go through that. If not, please talk to our supporting team. We BE students, our teachers enroll course for us, but in non-Mudalwan ID, there is no enrolled course. What we want to do for enroll. Right now you are there, so I hope it is available for you. So any questions, please, in this regard, please talk to our supporting team. Recorded video, as I said, it is available after the end of the day. What is the average salary for a full stack developer? It varies from 4 lakhs to 10 lakhs. It varies. If you are a premium institution, it goes as high as 40 lakhs, 50 lakhs as well, if you are coming from a premier institution. So is web developer also available, sir? Web developer is nothing but full stack developer holds on 3 aspects. One is HTML, that is UI designer. Second is backend, where you precisely deal with logics, etc. That is backend coding, we call it as, where that is where Java, Python, all that fits in. C sharp, C coding, Node.js, all this sits in. That is the backend, that is a layer. Third part is the DB layer. DB layer is purely a storage repository. DB has multiple different types of DBs are available, like NoSQL, SQL, relational database. There are so many database varieties are there. That is the backend. That is the database layer. So all these components are called full stack development. Um, so these are all. I have not yet started the course. I just given some names. These names will be available. All will not be used. Only few of them will be in use. So these are all only the names that is there, what you will learn. It is like a course. After successful completion, what about placements? If you are, we do take a lot of recruitment in our organization as well. There are supportive organization like ICSA, Prudential. There are a lot of supportive organization of this. Uh, this particular course is coming from the CSR units of industries, and it is supported by Tamil Nadu government as well. So there is a all the based on your project, based on your daily exercise that we give and you do, all these reports are shared with them. So they will be keep monitoring all of you. So there it is all depending on them how they your project final project, that 3 weeks project is a crucial. That's how you will get the uh, placement. Recorded video, yes, it is accessible through openmentor.net, www.openmentor.net. Okay, so that is the website. So please go there, openmentor.net. So you will get access through that. All videos are accessible. I just shared it to all. Please take a look at it. You can access today's class for tomorrow for sure. Visual code it we used in the course, visual code editor, it is called any code editor. Like Java uses Eclipse, JavaScript uses visual code editor, that is used. uh, Give us details about weekly MCQ. Based on the topic that we covered, there will be a MCQ session that will happen generally on Saturdays, if I'm right, or the last class Friday, it will happen. So you have to take that MCQ. MCQ is multiple choice questions. So these are all what I said, all will be referred, how you perform there. So these questions are tracked, and your answers are marked against your name, and we will submit all this data to our supporters. As I said, this is you are all getting it free, but this is sponsored. This Zogo, all these are sponsored by several team organization. There are organizations behind this like Integrated Enterprises, ICICI, a lot of organization supporting this uh, course. Is cloud part of full stack, sir? Cloud is generally a server deployment, etc. So we don't get into that as part of full stack. That is more about DevOps. Full stack is easier default. When the child uh, tries to walk, it falls down. First, it doesn't walk straight. It goes on its knees, and then it stands up, and then it tries to with support it walks, then finally it walks on its own. Same way for a bicycle riding, you cannot start it without any fall. So in that way, it is not like a mobile playing games. It is not like that. You need to practice. You will fall, somebody will shout at you, somebody will, or you yourself will feel bad. Then only the improvement happens only if I practice. It is not like playing games in our uh, so-called Android or anything. After completion of course, any certification will be provided. I think yes, it is. We are providing it. I've joined through external link, but from my CLG side, they said it will be available or enrolled in NM portal. As long as you are joined, we don't bother much. Are you cover backend too? Yes. Which language? It is Node.js, JavaScript language. Is a Java full stack developer or a Python full stack? It's a JavaScript full stack development. Can you please explain live examples instead of PPT, sir? We have not yet started the course at all. How can I get the certificate? Through your email. So yeah, you can contact through the support team. They will in turn pass it to the tutor. The tutors may vary. It depends on that. Tell about layoffs. I don't think it is required now. What is the .NET in full stack development means? It's a .NET C sharp coding. That's a .NET full stack. C sharp coding, purely Windows base. As there is a our college enrolls us, but now we check there is not enabled enrolling. Now what we can do, sir? Is there any problem or any solution? As long as you have a link, you can share this link to anybody as you wish. Any chances to explain with combination of different languages? Answer is no. We will go with only English. I know little bit about to create a website. Do you thought about live hosting? Uh, we'll talk about publishing, etc. Domain create live hosting involves domain creation, etc. That will not cover. Without programming language, how to be trained in full stack development? It is like asking me like without making side dishes, how do I eat roti? It is up to you, right? If you have to do full stack development, you need to learn one of the programming language. There is no shortcut here. Why Java is always preferred? Java is there from 1950s. So Java is a very old programming language, right? So it is not, so that is why Java it is penetrated into everybody. So, but today Java is having its own overhead because it is 1950s. Whereas if you come into the recent languages like Python or Node.js, etc., the heaviness is not there. It is very simple. Will give you any attendance link. All your Zoho is having its own recording mechanism. How long you are viewing the class, how frequently you are changing the screen, everything will come to know. How attendee you are will come to know. So we don't need a separate attendance sheet or anything. Teach about Spring Boot out of syllabus. We don't touch that. MCQ 75%. We don't go with 75% or anything. We go with your how much eager you have. Sorry, how close you are answering to the reality in the MCQ. So always there will be a challenging question where two answers are always right, but one answer is most suitable. So you need to choose the most suitable one. So that's how the MCQs are prepared. It is not that two answers are always right out of four. If you don't select these two, that means your mark is different. But out of two, you selected, but you are not selected the most often, your mark is different. It is not like for 25% for each, not like that. So what is the course duration? It is 20 weeks as we have informed. I want to know each by each word to give a meaning to understand fully concept. Uh, we will give you the path, we'll give you the how to deal with. It is up to you to expand your knowledge. So there is no end to this teaching. What are given is the limited scope. How can I get daily notes? Daily notes are also available as part of Open Mentor. Under file section, you will have the daily notes. The notes will be updated. It will be a one file, but it will keep updated. Your recording session will be part of a separate recording video session. Which programming language is important for full stack development? All languages are used in the market. So it is purely depending on where you apply. You learn, you are comfortable with JavaScript and you apply for a Java guy, Java developer, then you are into trouble. You have to choose where you want to apply, where your strength is. Accordingly, you need to choose and manage it. So which programming language is easy for other department engineering? All languages same. As per me, if then else. That is what I will always say. Syntax might vary very slightly. For me, if you know one language, you can be comfortable in any other languages. Taking say maybe a week's time, you can learn the other language without any problem. So we don't worry about year of passed out. It is purely, see, for example, this is very important for everybody to understand. Competence is very important in the market. You claim that you are a 2000, say 20 or a 19 or a 21. It doesn't matter. When you apply for a job, and if you are applying as a 3 years guy and you are 2020%, so you should have an expertise of that 2 3 years expertise. That much of practice you should have done. If you don't do that practice, even if you are 2020 or 2025, you have to compete with the fresher. Please remember that. So fresher, every year there are 14 lakh people coming out as a passed out in the whole stream. 14 lakh to 20 lakhs people are passing out. So you have to compete with them. To compete with them, only practice will do that. Without practice, don't expect easy path. If you are going with the easy path, then you have to stuck with this layoff and everywhere. So you need to stuck with that as well. If you are strong, one job goes, another job is always available. Okay. So I strong in Python language. Now I learned full stack JavaScript, but I didn't know JavaScript. This is very easy. JavaScript is Python is a different type of language. Syntax is different, but concept remains same. My name is Sri Raman. Placement I have already discussed. There are a lot of community supporting the placements, and we are here to promote your profile to all these communities. That's our job, right? So today I think that's it. That's the questions. More or less all other questions I have answered. So uh, see, there are two things. One, your class marks are one part. Knowing the subject is another part. We are here to know the subject that is required in the modern industries. We call this program as an upskill program. In modern industries, we need something to start with. That starting is done through this course. Okay. So with that, I just go to little bit of actual HTML, how to do that. Forget about these events, tags, etc. As we go, we learn about all this only. Without that, nothing will work. So we'll learn that only. So now I'll just move on to little bit. I'm going to take it in the real word. That is, I use Notepad. I'll use majorly the Notepad. I'll use a fresh Notepad. Notepad plus plus I'm using as an editor for a start for HTML course. I will use Chrome as whatever the HTML I've written here to show it on the web page. I use the Chrome browser. You can use any browser in that matter. Okay, that is how I use. Just let me just explain the what this content is all about. Just a second. I'll go to the view mode. So this is what the HTML is structure is all. This is where the actual class starts on HTML. Before that, whatever seen is the what is the brief of HTML. We say we have just seen the content of the HTML. What are all we learn just to heads up, right? In any of the web page, whatever we have seen, it is there in that web page. We may not know, but it is there. Now to start with, I'm just going with what is HTML. HTML is what? So always start with a doc type. The doc type makes the browser understand that this particular document is an HTML document. Just it is like a you can see a exclamatory mark. This indicates that it is just an information. It is just an information. It is nothing to do with, I'm sorry, I moved some screens because of click event. So it is just giving, says it is an information. And it says the browser that it is an HTML document. You have a XML. You can treat it as XML. You can treat it as JSON. You can treat it. These are all the types of document that we are talking about. Right now, the document that we are talking about is HTML. Every HTML, it starts with, I'll just go back, copy this. I'll just copy this. I put it into the notepad. put it in the notepad to just explaining more clearly. So I'm font maybe, I think font is sufficient. So this is called HTML element. So element is nothing but one tag you start and you end the tag. Forward slash is ending of the tag is always done using a forward slash. So this is called element in the HTML. One tag, open tag, close tag is called element. Right? Any tag you start, it always has to close the tag. So HTML I started, I closed it here. This is the starting of the tag. This is the closing of the tag. This entire thing is called HTML element. Within the HTML element, there is called header, there is called body. These are all the two tags always available as part of the HTML. So one is header, another is body. And there is called, these are all called, again, everything is an HTML tag only. So title is another tag. Each tag has its own presentation in the browser. So it understands it in a different way. That's what it means. So title is what is title. Each one will go as we start. Will go here. So I just remove this. I save this file for time being. I just save this file. So what I did is I just made a HTML tag and I closed this tag. Inside this tag, I created a head tag. I closed that head tag and then I created a title tag. I paste this onto the, you can copy paste. I paste this, pasting it in our chat. You can just copy paste this so that in a starting, it will be easy to start with the copy paste. Then you will get familiarized with. So you can just make sure you copy paste it. Okay. Done. So I'm just moving, I'm saving this file. I'm saving this file. I'll put it under where? I'll create a new folder, say upskill. Underneath upskill, I just save it as an HTML file. I'm saving it as an HTML file. I have given it as any name you can give. I just saved it as html1.html. You can see now in Notepad++, automatically he changes the syntax according to the file type. Right? Since it is an HTML file, he has changes the syntax to HTML, head, body, color. You can see the color. Right? It's a simple HTML. Right? So I'm just saved this file. I want to open this file in the browser. I just go back. I hope you all done this. Please raise your hand if you are all copy pasted, put it onto the notepad and then saved it as a file. Please confirm me. Please priorly practice. That will give you some heads and it becomes interesting. If you don't practice, later you will just drop off from the call because it's a free, right? So you always, our human tendency is path of least resistance. So that is the biggest problem for our not learning. Please remember our childhood, the number of words we learn every day, the number of activity that we learn every day in our, when we are small kid. Remember that with what we learn today. In today's trend, we more than learning, we just repeat. We don't learn new things. That is because of path of least resistance that